Do you have a job with a decent salary, good benefits, and a title that maybe even sounds impressive at dinner parties, but takes you 10 minutes to explain what it is you actually do? Are you also exhausted? Are you uninspired? Are you secretly terrified that you're wasting the best years of your life moving numbers around in spreadsheets while the world burns down around you? You want to do something, be something, make something of yourself, but James, have you seen that job market? Now, according to podcast statistics, you've already spent time and your resume is perfect. You've got keywords. You've even used ChatGPT to optimize it. You put some feelers out there, jobs that light a little spark of enthusiasm in an industry more compelling than the one you're in. You hadn't, however, thought of the renewable energy industry. Well, yet. Until now. And now that you're thinking about it, well, it does click a lot of boxes. And before you can ask Chat to further tweak your resume to help you transition from soul-crushing corporate work to a career in the $4 trillion a year electrify everything and power with renewable energy industry, here's the uncomfortable truth. You're playing a game that no longer exists. The job market in 2025, it looks nothing like it did in 2022. And all those career coaches on LinkedIn telling you to just be authentic, to let your passion shine through, and the right opportunity will find you. They're giving you advice that makes them feel good. When they post it, they get 10,000 likes. And it's not advice that actually gets you hired. Look, I'm not here to sugarcoat things. If you want someone to tell you everything's gonna be fine and you just need to manifest your dream job, put it up on your vision board, well, you might need to find a different podcast. I'm going to tell you what's actually happening in this industry and what you need to do about it. The good news, there's still massive opportunity. The energy transition isn't stopping, but the hiring frenzy of 2021 through 2023, it is over. And if you're still using that playbook, you're competing with hundreds of other people using the same outdated strategy. Today, I'm going to break down the real state of the job market, destroy some of those dangerous myths that are keeping you from finding that career that you can be passionate about, and give you the actual playbook that works, not theory. The stuff that is actually working for people who have successfully made this transition. So let's get into it. First, let's talk about what's actually happening in the renewable energy job market right now. The hiring pace, it has cooled. It hasn't collapsed, but it is cooled. In 2022 and early 2023, companies were hiring like crazy, interest rates were low, capital was cheap, and everyone was racing to build capacity. Residential solar companies were hiring installers who'd never held a drill. EV startups were throwing money at anyone with engineer in their title. That party is over. Interest rates went up, policy uncertainty increased, and yes, even with the Inflation Reduction Act, there's uncertainty about its future implementation. Some companies, they overexpanded, and now they're consolidating. The residential solar market, it particularly got hit hard with some major players struggling and or going under. So, if you're applying and you're hearing silence, it's not you. Well, it might be you, but it's also very much the market. But here's the opportunity. Because before you close this podcast and go back to your soul-crushing corporate job, here's what the doom and gloom headlines aren't telling you. The industry, it is still growing, and at 40% year over year, not just here in the US. Here in the US, we're growing closer to 15 to 20% in most sectors, which, by the way, is still phenomenal compared to most industries. People, they still retire. People still get promoted. They're still switching companies. There is natural attrition creating openings. And here's the kicker. Utility scale solar, energy storage, offshore wind, grid infrastructure, they are still hiring at a steady clip. The difference is that companies are being a bit pickier. In 2022, they would take anyone with a pulse and some adjacent experience. Now, they're looking for the right fit. And here's my controversial take. This is actually good news for career changers. Why? Because when companies were desperately hiring in the gold rush, you were competing against people who'd been in the industry for years, who were just job hopping for that 30% raise. Now, that market has cooled, those people are staying put, and the companies that are hiring are looking for people with strong fundamentals and transferable skills, which is exactly what burned out corporate professionals have. You got a project management experience? Great. Energy companies need that. You've done complex stakeholder coordination? That's literally what grid interconnection requires. You've managed P&Ls? Every solar development project needs financial modeling. The problem isn't that you're qualified. The problem is that you're job hunting like it's 2015. And that game has changed. So let's destroy some of those myths that are keeping you frustrated. Myth number 1, just apply online and your resume will get seen by a human. Oh, sweet summer child.
Oh, my sweet summer child.
No. Most renewable energy companies, especially the bigger ones, they are using applicant tracking systems. That means a robot is going to read your resume before any human does. And if you're a career changer trying to break in, your resume probably doesn't have the magic keywords that robot is looking for. Now, we're not going to do that trick where we put some instructions in white font and hide it in your resume so it's not easily seen by a human and it tells an AI agent a new prompt to pick your resume over all others. I have no idea if that actually works. But let's not find ourselves in that awkward position of starting our new job in a new industry that we're really passionate about based on a lie. No, that is like George Costanza, Seinfeld universe stuff. No, we are better than that. Myth number 2, get certified and jobs will come. This is where I got stuck in my drive to get into the industry. I tried and failed to certify myself into a world where I was qualified. Most of the good certifications, they require you to have real world experience. You need hours signed off by someone else in the industry. My BPI certification, it required that I knew how to operate a blower door test. Without experience with that equipment, I just wasn't going to get certified. Instead, I had to find a job that allowed me to learn the skills I needed to get a certification. Meanwhile, my college of choice, well, it was all too happy to take my thousands of dollars for my master's degree. Now, this is coming from someone who's offering a renewable energy masterclass. A masterclass by itself in anything is only going to get you so far. It's not what you know, it's who you know. But here is the kicker. You also got to know some stuff. Because networking, but when you do it, you should have an idea of the players who's actually there. What do they do? What are their companies? What are their companies hiring? Any cool recent projects? Can you find interesting questions to ask them when you meet them? Myth number 3, entry-level jobs are your way in. Yeah, entry-level jobs nowadays need 3 to 5 years of experience, so don't do that. Entry level and renewable has become meaningless. What companies call entry level often requires significant experience. Better strategy, leverage your existing skills into a lateral move, not a downward move. If you've been managing projects in tech for 5 years, you don't need an entry level position. You need to reframe your experience as directly applicable to energy projects. Myth number 4, recruiters will help you break in. Well, most external recruiters, if they're real, in this space, they are looking for experienced candidates to place in specific roles. They're matchmakers for existing talent, not career counselors for people trying to break in. They're not bad people, they're just optimized for their commission, which means placing qualified candidates quickly. You're not their target demographic yet. Now, here's where I may make some enemies. A lot of LinkedIn influencers and career coaches are giving you advice that sounds inspiring, but doesn't actually work. Just be yourself. Let your passion for climate shine through. Send a creative video application. This advice gets them engagement, makes you feel warm and fuzzy. It does not get you hired. The renewable energy industry is a real business with real money and real constraints. They're not hiring you because you're passionate about saving the planet. They're hiring you because you can save them money, you can make them money, or you can solve a problem they have. Your passion is great. It's needed. We want that. We love that. But passion by itself doesn't write interconnection agreements or manage EPC contracts. Okay, enough destroying your dreams. Let's build them back up with actual strategy. So let's start with an important baseline strategy. It's not what you know, it's who you know. But here's what gives me hope, and what I hope you understand. You can build who you know systematically in 90 days. You're not stuck with your current network. You can expand it with intention, but you need a framework and you need accountability to actually execute it. So here's a 4-pillar strategy to do that. Pillar number 1, industry knowledge first. You cannot network effectively if you can't hold a conversation. If someone asks you, what do you think about the recent DPU ruling on CMR 18? And you answer with a, good? Uh-oh. Your cards are shown and you were bluffing. You need to become conversational in this industry. Not an expert, conversational. That means understanding the language, the keywords. What does utility scale mean that commercial and industrial doesn't? Do players in the residential markets play in the utility scale market? Current policy landscape. Federally, at least, at a minimum, you must understand federal policy. But you also need to understand your local policy landscape. The energy market, it is heavily regulated, even in and especially in those free market states. So policy matters. In fact, It's the only reason solar, wind, plus storage has not taken over the world yet. So what does it take to permit a project? What does it take to interconnect a project? Who manages that? Who's in charge of upgrading the grid? And how's it going? Net metering rate for a big project. Net metering rate for a in front of the meter project. Net metering for behind the meter projects. Is there a difference? You need to know major players in your target sector. This is where your LinkedIn game and some good old-fashioned cyber stalking can play a big role. Is cyber stalking old enough to be called good old-fashioned yet? Let me know in the comments. Recent news and controversies. All right, where do you learn some recent news? Where do you learn about the controversies in the industry? A good place to start is trade magazines like PV Magazine, Canary Media, Utility Drive. You can look at earnings calls from public companies. They're free on investor relations pages. LinkedIn posts from industry veterans. Podcasts like, I don't know, maybe this one you're listening to right now. In 2 to 4 weeks of consistent reading, 1 hour a day, that is it. And here's where coaching and accountability help. Because after 3 days, you're going to get bored reading about interconnection queues. Your brain is going to say, James, I only understand half of this. Let's go watch some Netflix. Having someone, a coach, or an accountability partner, a structured program, keeps you on track when motivation fades, because it will fade. Motivation is fleeting. Systems are what work. Persistence and consistency must be your superpowers to do super things. Pillar number 2, strategic networking. Notice I said strategic, not desperate. Persistent, not desperate. Consistent proves to others that you are serious. Anyone can show up to an event. Anyone can be a flash in the pan going to LinkedIn and messaging 100 people. Can you help me get a job? We are not going to do that. That is what everyone else is doing. That is why everyone else is failing. Here's the play. Target people who are on one level above where you want to be. Not C-suite executives yet. People who have been in the industry 3 to 7 years and are doing the work you want to do. Your message. Hi, so-and-so. I'm researching a career transition into specific sector, not just renewable energy. I've been following your work on specific thing they posted about. Could I ask you 3 questions about how you broke into this field? Notice what you're not saying. Do you have any jobs? Can you refer me? Will you hire me? You're asking for information. Most people are happy to give advice. Few people want to be hit up for jobs. Then, in that conversation, you ask intelligent questions based on the knowledge you've been building. You demonstrate that you're curious, not just randomly curious. And here's the magic question at the end. Who else should I be talking to? 1 conversation becomes 3. 3 conversations become 9. 9 becomes 27. And that, my friends, is how networks grow. But here's the thing. Most people, they'll do this once, maybe twice, and then they stop because it's a little uncomfortable. They don't get immediate results and they get busy. Consistency must be your superpower. And this is where accountability is critical. Whether it's a coach, a program, or just a friend who checks in weekly. You need someone asking you, did you reach out to 3 people this week? Otherwise, you're gonna let it slide. Transferable skill positioning. This is pillar number 3. Your corporate skills, they are valuable. Project management, sales, operations, finance, stakeholder coordination. These are all desperately needed in renewable energy, but you need to reframe them. Don't say, I want to break into solar because I care about the environment. Say, I'm a project manager with 5 years experience coordinating complex stakeholder groups across regulatory, technical, and financial constraints. I'm looking to apply that to a utility-scale renewable energy deployment company where these exact skills drive project success. See the difference? One sounds like career crisis. The other sounds like strategic career evolution. Jim Rohn said it perfectly. The marketplace, it rewards value, not time. You have value. You just need to position it correctly. Pillar number 4, your LinkedIn game. Your LinkedIn profile should tell you a story of intentional transition, not desperate job seeking. It's a bad headline to say seeking opportunities in renewable energy. Also, how are we feeling about those green sashes across LinkedIn profile pictures that say open to work? Instead, let's add a headline like operations professional or transitioning to clean energy infrastructure, a project management and stakeholder coordination, content strategy. Share industry news with your perspective, even if it's just 2 sentences. Oh, interesting development in offshore wind interconnection. This reminds me of challenges I've solved in the field that you're in currently. I know a newsletter, a podcast, and social media account that can help point you towards some of this news. Just saying, hit that bell. Comment thoughtfully on posts from people at target companies, not a great ghost, and then click those celebratory green clapping hands, but give actual substance. the goal. When you request a connection or reach out, they've seen your name. You're not a cold stranger. And here's a secret weapon that most people miss. Network laterally and across, not just up. Everyone tries to connect with VPs and directors, and that's fine, but also connect with people at your same career stage who already made the jump. They remember what it was like. They're more likely to help, and in 3 years, they'll be the hiring manager. Now, here's what I have observed coaching people through career transitions. Everyone starts with enthusiasm. They read articles, they update their LinkedIn, they reach out to a couple people. But week 2 hits, week 3. They didn't hear back from anyone. They got busy at their current job and they felt awkward messaging strangers. By week 3, they've stopped. And 3 months later, they're in the same position wondering why nothing has changed. This is why coaching works. Not because a coach has magic answers, we don't, but because a coach keeps you accountable when motivation disappears. A good coach asks, did you reach out to 3 people this week? Did you read the industry news? Tell me all about what you read. Did you update your LinkedIn profile? Did you attend that networking event? Who'd you meet? What was it about? What was the most exciting thing you learned? The framework I'm giving you right now works, but only if you actually execute it consistently for 90 days. Most people, they can't do that alone. Not because they're weak, but because consistency is hard when you're tired, discouraged, and working 40 hours a week, especially one that you hate. So let me give you some specifics on where opportunities actually exist right now in 2025. Energy storage. This is the hottest market. Battery storage is hot right now, and there aren't enough people who understand it. Project managers, engineers, electrical designers, they are in high demand. Utility scale, solar and wind. It's a little slower than 2022, but it is still hiring at a steady clip. Development roles, project management, interconnection specialists. In grid infrastructure, this is incredibly stable, well-paid work, friends, and it is desperately needed. If you've got any utility experience or electrical experience, you are more than golden. Energy efficiency, this gets overlooked, but it's super accessible for career changers. Building auditors, program managers, commercial account managers, companies are hiring. It's where I got my start, and it's a critical first step as people consider electrifying everything and powering with renewable energy. The best kilowatt hour to invest in is the one we never needed. Starting off with good design, whether it be new homes or existing homes, just adding more solar panels, more wind turbines, more batteries is a recipe for getting us right back into the same outcome we're in today. I believe the adage is work smarter, not harder. That's efficiency. Heat pumps and HVAC electrification. This market is about to go bananas. Pay attention here. And then geographically, look at where state incentive programs are. California, New York, Massachusetts, Colorado, Texas. Despite politics, the business case is strong. And increasingly, the Southeast is building out its manufacturing hubs. All right, let's bring this home. The renewable energy industry is built on relationships and trust. You can't automate your way into building someone's trust, but you can systematically build it. And here's where I can help. I offer free 30-minute city-specific industry analyses. I'll map out the exact companies, the incentive programs, the opportunity pathways in your specific area. Link is in the show notes. And look, if you're listening to this and thinking, this all makes sense, but I'm gonna lose momentum after a couple weeks. Well, that, friends, is where the structured support helps. The SolarPunkPro Masterclass isn't just about technical knowledge. It's about giving you a framework, a community, and accountability to actually make this transition happen. We cover the industry landscape, the technical fundamentals that you need, and the career strategy that works, plus ongoing coaching to keep you on track. So if you want to stop being a spectator and start being a player, check it out. Link is in the show notes. Otherwise, take this framework and run with it. Seriously, even if you never work with me, use the strategy. It works. All right. That is it for today. If this resonated, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you think I'm completely wrong about something, I'd love to hear why. Book that free call and let's debate. Remember, the world's energy system is transforming, whether you're part of it or not. We're here for a good time, not a long time. So choose which side of the transformation you're on. See you in the next episode.